is something that is happening in many poor rural communities. The only remaining grocery store left in town shuts down. This is actually something that's happening a lot, but the mayor of one community in Florida had a really, I think, interesting way to fix it, a pretty cool idea, have City Hall open and operate a store in town. Just one thing though, it's a town full of Trump supporters, so they don't want you to call this socialism, okay? I'm talking about Baldwin, Florida. At the Baldwin market, it opened its doors on September 20th. All of the employees are on the municipal payroll, from the butcher to the cashiers. I'd say workers from the town's maintenance department take breaks from cutting grass to help unload deliveries. And the people who live there flag down the mayor when they want to request a specific type of milk. Outsiders see this situation as inherently socialist, right? I mean, it just seems true, like the definition. But
that's right. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's not really arguable.
But Mayor Sean Lynch, who has a nonpartisan position, but governs a town where 68% of residents voted for Donald Trump in 2016. He doesn't see it that way. From his point of view, the town is just doing what it's supposed to do, providing services to residents who already pay enough in taxes. But that's also it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. The definition, yes.
So, there's a little more. This doesn't come without its struggles, as you can imagine. Like, they can't compete with the prices at like bigger chains, so things are a little more expensive. And also the town had to take out a loan in order to get this started. And if the profits from the grocery store cannot pay it back, this is not permanent. They would have to shut down. But it has helped. Residents there aren't making a lot of money overall at all, and they don't have the means to drive more than 10 miles on the freeway to another city just to get their groceries. So this has helped a lot. And Mike Brunig, the founder of the People's Policy Project, which is a socialist think tank, likens this to having a public option for healthcare, saying the idea that a municipality should have to beg private companies to provide basic goods and services to its people is absurd. And being able to say, we'll just do it ourselves is very powerful.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, bearing in mind socialism and all that aside, I think that the median income for people who live there is close to $45,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of money.
Right.
But the fact that they are saying, listen, we are a prideful community, that we can provide for the residents of our community in some way, shape, or form. There's something to be said about that. I mean, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the state of New Mexico, which isn't a rich state in itself. There are towns like this that have a Walmart 30 miles away with people who can't afford to even, or who don't have the means to get there. One mom and pop shop that doesn't have a myriad of different items for the community, but tries to provide what they can. So for a community of Trump supporters to say, as a think tank said, we're gonna do it ourselves, you kind of have to celebrate that. I think. I mean, am I crazy? Absolutely. Am I crazy?
No, I wish that they would just understand what they're doing. And then that's the point. I think people get caught up on words and people who bring those words to their attention, and then they start like shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, Brooke, I do think that much like if the town hall's controlling this establishment, right? That can be dangerous, of course, because they make the decisions and can choose when to, if they do repay their loan and the store stays open for longer than expected, they can control what comes in, what comes out, who gets what, who doesn't get their I don't know, Chobani yogurts. But I mean, I think that people in that small town just want to have what they need, and like I said earlier, whoever, socialism aside, it's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. So look, guys, that's why I always find these words meaningless: socialism, capitalism, democratic socialism, blah, 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 right? The reality is, there's a lot of socialism in our government. Social Security, socialism. This reminds me of when they were fighting against Obamacare, the Republicans were, and that guy had that great sign that said, "Get your government hands off my Medicare." Medicare is a government program.
Like what?
So Medicare, socialism. Fire department, socialism. Cops, socialism. Military, socialism. Those are government-run institutions. We have a mixed economy. Almost all the countries in the world have a mixed economy. You have some things that are run by private companies and some things that are run by the government. So the question is where you draw that line. Yeah. So, and by the way, different places draw it in different areas that have different levels of success. So North Dakota, of all places, a very red state, has a public bank. and it works spectacularly for them for the same reasons why this store initially is working well, because they don't need to drive up prices and fees to their customers to make a profit, because it's nonprofit, because it's run by the government. They do have certain economic realities. The grocery store has to pay the loan back. The bank has to be sustainable. So that's true, but they don't pay their corporate executives a lot. They don't have to pay marketing costs, and they actually can have lower fees for you. Now, some of the bigger companies like Walmart have something called economies of scale because they're so large, so they might still be cheaper. Some of the products might be cheaper than this local grocery store, but at least it gives people an option. So don't buy into the demagoguery around words like socialism. And by the way, that's not the only example. You know what else is socialist? The Green Bay Packers. They're owned by the city, the different people in the city. It's nonprofit, they don't make any profit off of it at all. The fans are the owners. That's so socialist, it's almost communist.
The entire NFL used to be the largest nonprofit organization in the country.
Then they thought, I think we might be able to make a profit off of this. Right. So, and by the way, so speaking of demagoguery, the right wing makes it seem like the left wants to take over everything and turn it into a government enterprise. That's not remotely true. Right. I don't want the government making sneakers. And there is some truth to if private organizations create more innovation and a host of other positives that come out of there being private corporations. But you shouldn't freak out on the idea, oh, government runs it, oh my God. No, the government runs a lot of things that people are pretty happy about. Post office, I mean, Jesus, they deliver things at what a fraction of the rate of FedEx and UPS. If we didn't have the post office, sending anything would cost like $15. Sending a postcard would cost a crazy amount of money. So the government does plenty of good things. And in this case, I'm really gratified to see a very Trump supporting town going, maybe the government could actually work for its people. That's kind of the point.
Do it when it benefits them. Like, you know what I mean? And what you said, I wish that more people got that, like what you said, like, yeah, like, there are tons of benefits when it comes to like private entities, but not every neighborhood and city and community in America has the privilege of being able to even start there. Not everybody has it. Some places have thousands of people with no grocery store. In Tulsa, in North Tulsa, I was talking to Brett about this. The city has had to figure out a way to try and stop dollar stores from taking over grocery stores because people can't get access to lots of fresh produce, because they have no grocery stores in parts of North Tulsa, just dollar stores.
Or even the quality of the food they're getting at those stores is less than what you would get at, and even a smaller step up metropolitan area, you know, and the same thing in New Mexico. I have a friend who's from a small town in Oklahoma as well, and I'm not gonna say the town because he always gets so mad when I talk about it on air, but they would have to drive 20 miles to the nearest store to get subpar groceries.
Right, and what if you don't have a car?
Right, and which some of these people did not. So
that's right. And guys, one last thing. There are some things that the government should absolutely do by itself, and there are some things it probably shouldn't do at all. And then there are things that are in the middle. The grocery store is in the middle. I would never take away private grocery stores. To me, that makes no sense at all. But if it turns out you don't have one and the government can do it, great, give it a shot. Same with banks, if you ask me. But things like the fire department need to be completely public. Otherwise, you don't put out the fire if somebody couldn't pay insurance, and then the whole city burns down. And all the things that your life depends on, cops, military, fire department, healthcare, all should be run by the government. Otherwise, if you don't have the money, we let you die. And that's unacceptable. Driving further out to a Walmart, it's bad, but acceptable, right? Your kid dying because he doesn't have insurance, not acceptable. So that's where you should delineate what should definitely be just the government. And in that case, it would be just health insurance, not the whole entire healthcare system. And what could be the government and what shouldn't be the government. Let's try to have thoughtful conversations about it instead of socialism, capitalism, right? Let's be as open-minded as we can. And it's great to see a Trump town being open-minded and thinking, yeah, it turns out government can work. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.